Namaste. Esa Puspanjali. Rakshina. Kalighat Namo. Vamsojukso Namaste Brahmani Rupadharini Kausumbika Hare Chandi Narayani Namaste Esa Puspanjali Rakshina Kalighat Namo.
Namastashay Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Chetanatvavidhiyate Namastashay Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhirupena Samstita Namastashay Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Khudarupena Samstita Namastashay Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Chaya Rupena Samstita Namastashay Namo Namaha.
It is the call. My soul. It is the call. Let me not name it to you, you chaste stars. It is the call. And yet I'll not shed her blood, nor scar that white snow, as smooth as monumental alabaster.
I just referred to Pakad and referred to, you came later, Rag Bhupali, and what is Aroha and what is Pakad note. Also in this Rag, you will notice there are two notes which are Varjya, which are completely omitted, Ma and Ni in this pentatonic Rag. So in cinema, I also find there are some virtue aspects. If you look at Ozu, for example, you don't find zooming. He uses block lens. Zoom is virtue. That note is virtue. In these films of Ashish, I don't find zoom. He uses block lenses. There's kind of very close proximity to some of these notions of virtue, being virtue. So can you talk about that? Sorry, we are talking about more form, स्वरूप. जब स्वभाव की बात करते हैं तो स्वरूप की बात होनी चाहिए. आजकल स्वरूप की बात कम होती है. तो ये कोई भी कला की बात करते हैं तो स्वरूप की बात होनी चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. तो ये वर्ज्य की जो भावना है वो सिनेमा में कैसे लाई जा सकती है? It's very interesting the way our Saundarya Shastra, our own aesthetics has been developed, right from Abhinav Gupta and Mammat and all these, And if we explore, and Cinema Prayog is trying to do, we will talk more about that, and we can find new ideas and notions this time, where the so-called experimental film, which I find quite exclusivist, Euro-American centric term, which is almost dead. Cinema Prayog is trying to revive, get back that energy of so-called experimentation. We don't use the word experiment. We don't call experimental film. Tarkovsky said there is nothing like experimentation. The artist knows what she is doing when she's cutting at that point, some point of the film. She knows exactly why is she cutting at that point. So this whole notion of experimentation was quite materialistic or material in the West, quite rational. That we will talk about that. But this virtue aspect, if you can throw some light on.
To a great extent, what you see in these films is a certain sense of, the right word would be a certain sense of, I won't call it poverty or simplicity, but a certain sense of not being flamboyant. And one of the elements is something that Amrit talks about, is that I have avoided using zoom lenses, and not just the zoom lenses. I've almost very, very minimalist use of telephotos. I don't like tight images. I find the usage of telephoto lenses, not zoom, just telephoto lenses which are above, let's say 75 or 100 mm, almost akin to a pornographic aesthetics. Not that I have a problem with pornography, don't get me wrong. It's that it reminds me of that form of aesthetics, because what tight lenses do is that it sucks in the viewer into the cinematic frame, almost titillating his emotion. And that's something that I've avoided. So basically very wide lenses. And the reason I do that is to kind of create a distance between my world and the world that you as an audience are creating for yourself. And I do that very, very consciously. And therefore I use very wide lenses. And as I said, I would say around close to about 80 to 90% of the images you saw in these 4 films were shot on just one lens. As I said, it's something between poverty and simplicity, is that it's a conscious choice of not using these kind of flamboyant lenses. Yes.
The first film on Durga that you showed us, Kalighat, it had a very ominous tone. In fact, was that your intention? It was almost like scary, the way the chanting and the camera and the music, and as a viewer, it made me feel like something horrible is going to come up. And the goat cutting, very gory, I thought, but very, what do you call that? To see the skinning of the goat is terrible. It was absolutely horrible to watch. Were you saying that religion is I mean, it's mocking mocking human rituals. Or, I mean, was that your?
I don't find that horrible. It's a certain ritual within a certain cultural and a sociological and a religious universe where it is justified. And that film that film comes from my own biography. I was raised around Kalighat temple in Calcutta, and I've been seeing these rituals since I can remember. And for me, this film was a form of revisiting a memory space, which is almost part of my real space. And no, it's the opposite. I think, in a certain sense, the film is delving into the idea of ritual modernity in a very obvious manner. I don't want to kind of get into the details and like the metaphysical details about it, because I want to just leave it to you to think about it. I'll be happy to answer the question, but I must admit I'm uncomfortable answering it. Although I can answer if there's something very specific. But fundamentally, that film is a biographical, self-referential cinema for me.